Transition Awareness Breathing. Feeling grounded for both children and parents is essential for healthy living and learning. Join Eartha Powell on this series for tips and tools for creating a harmonious environment for learning. Transition Awareness Breathing will help you and your child find an individualized path to tackle change, promote lifelong learning, and discover new approaches to calmness.
I cannot believe that we have given up. I cannot believe that the core of our humanity has dissolved into baseless hate. I cannot believe that when we look at a fellow human being, we are judging them based on their exterior. Welcome to Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. This is Eartha. Today, we are going to dissect those 3 sentences. We're going to tear them apart. And we're going to talk about compassion. I am so glad you joined me. First, I would like to thank Web Talk Radio for giving me a platform to bring Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast to you. I would also like to thank my producers, Mary Lou and Sam, for making this podcast available to you wherever you are at. Let's get started. Compassion. If you look at the spelling of the word compassion, did you know that it has compass in it? And as a suffix, it has ION, which means action. A compass is a very important navigational tool. Let's explore how we can use that to explore compassion. A compass helps a person or anyone find out where they are going according to true north. The needle of the compass usually aligns with the magnetic north. And that magnetic north is the Earth magnetic field. And so most children love magnets. And when you give them a magnet and they want to see if anything metal is magnetic. And when you give a child a compass, they want to see, does it work? If that compass needle is facing north, it is pointing towards the magnetic north. That compass works. The true north, and you may have heard of that term in leadership classes. Our company is going true north. What are they talking about? What they're talking about is the true goal or mission, that one mission that everyone should be working towards. As far as the navigational terminology, the true north is the north axis of the Earth's rotation. And a person that uses the true north as its navigational source, they may use the North Star, and knowing that that true north may not line up, and it usually doesn't line up, with the magnetic north. So why is that important to know when we're talking about compassion? When you go to the mall, Have you ever just gone to a big mall and you have no idea where you're starting, and so you go to the directory and you look for those words, "You are here"? I do. Yeah, I have no sense of direction. The GPS has become my best friend. I was skeptical about it at first, but it is a great tool. The compass to our own emotion is, where are we when we talk about compassion? Where is our true north? And what is our magnetic north? They're two different things. What is compassion? There's all kinds of definitions, but let's talk about a definition so that we can all be on the same true north, the same sheet of paper, the same direction. I like this definition that I researched. It's from a professor out of Stanford University, and forgive me if I pronounce her name incorrectly, is Dr. Jazaieri, and she describes compassion as a multidimensional process comprised of 4 key elements: awareness of suffering, sympathetic concern related to being emotionally moved by suffering, a wish to see the relief of that suffering, and a responsiveness or readiness to help relieve the suffering. And this is all based on to help relieve suffering, to be aware that there's suffering. And so I think that's why I liked this definition, because it is multidimensional. As a nurse, you have to know that when we go through studies in nursing and healthcare, compassion is a valuable skill that has to be taught upon. Most people, a lot of people might think, well, if you're a nurse, then you must come in with the skill of compassion. Well, you do have some compassion, but some compassion is taught. And the reason why I say this is because when I was little, I loved animals. I loved helping. That was probably an element. But when I started nursing and I was in nursing school, I didn't know how to take care of a very elderly person or someone who was dying. I didn't know how to show compassion to a family. I had to be taught how to help the family or the patient and be understanding of their spiritual needs, their cultural needs, their age, their profession. It is very multidimensional. And if anyone in the healthcare field is not aware of the elements of that compassionate care, usually it will be a very rough profession, and they may not last very long. When we are taught about compassion, one thing that is very important is that we have to explore what compassion means to us. And in mindfulness and awareness training, the first thing that they teach in the certification courses is that we have to explore ourselves. And that's what we're going to do a little bit today. We're going to explore ourselves. We're going to take our compass and we are going to be the true north. We are each, every one of us, we're multidimensional beings. We're different than our parents. We're different than our children. Some things we don't always share. How would you answer a question of what is compassion to you? Many times we have to look at ourselves, and according to Dr. Brene Brown, we have to look at what makes us vulnerable. That is very touchy. It hurts. Sometimes, as far as being vulnerable, we don't want to even go there. And so when we don't go there, we really are not allowing ourselves to grow. A gardening analogy. When you put a seed in the ground, it's just a seed in on top of dirt. But when you put it in the soil, you dig a little hole, you put the seed in the soil, you cover that seed and you give it water, that seed begins to deteriorate the outside. It breaks down. It mixes with the elements of that seed, mixes with the soil, and up comes the beginning of a plant. I suggest that we too have to look at our vulnerabilities as a seed. It is a strength. It is something that is inside of us. And we have to look at it. And if it breaks down, know that it's breaking down so that something will grow out. Something beautiful will grow out when we address what makes us vulnerable. One of the places where I was a charge nurse, one of my staff, maybe a couple of them, came to me and said, ma'am, a lot of the staff, they're complaining that you're not very friendly. I was shocked. I was so hurt. And I asked, why? What was I doing to give them the impression that I wasn't friendly? They told me that in the morning I didn't say hello to everyone. I had to apologize. I was a brand new leader of this unit, and I understood the importance of communicating. And I also understood the importance of allowing my staff to see the human part of me. I told my staff, I'm not a morning person. And I've never been a morning person. I'm still not a morning person, but I knew that for my team, I had to do something to help them to trust me. So I said, I just need to put my purse down, get a sip of coffee. If I don't say good morning right away when I come through the door, I promise you I will come and say hello to everyone, especially when we start our change of shift report. That was so important because they knew that, this is how, it's not about us. It's about, that's how she is. And I think when we take a step and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and it hurts sometimes to hear feedback from ourselves, but I think it's very important to learn about ourselves. And sometimes how we're learning about ourselves, we have to get feedback from other people, and that's the part that hurts, or it's surprising, or we don't really want to go there. And so, I'll say it again, talk to a friend, journal about your feelings of your day. Start with yourself. Be compassionate toward yourself. If you need to talk to a professional, sometimes whatever there may be barriers that's keeping us from progressing, know that you are important and that you can move on. If you need a little help talking to a professional, it's okay. Talking to a friend, journaling, start with yourself. That's where compassion starts. That seed that was planted, that part, the exterior of that seed, the out part of that seed is deteriorating. And the inside, that inside is a new beginning. It's a new way, a new day that will be nurtured. And it's a building block of something, a part of you that is great. Communicate verbally and non-verbally. Another thing that helps us build our compassion is encouraging others. We all like to hear ourselves get praised. Everybody likes to get a pat on the back. But we're talking about building compassion. If you want to start building compassion, praise and give someone else encouragement. That positive reinforcement, that positive word that comes out of your mouth to someone else, it explodes. It just puts something, it stimulates something in our brains, in the environment. It turns things from what you cannot do into what you can do. And that's what I did with my staff, just thinking back on those experiences. It was such a busy ward that it was a new promise that we all would promise to say positive words to each other, because a lot of things that was going on in our environment was stressful, but we all agreed that our patients came first. But actually, we had to take care of ourselves first. Express yourself, show kindness, and sometimes we put ourselves in a position. If someone needs help, be their advocate. We, as parents, as aunts and uncles, we do that with our family. Sometimes we stop ourselves. We don't want to get involved. And that's a very really real feeling. But know that when you're helping someone, you are building compassion. I cannot believe that we have given up. If we take the negative out of our words and speak positive, it builds compassion. I believe that we will not give up. I believe that the core of our humanity is that we can show compassion, and it is not baseless hate, that we can dissolve any hate with compassion and empathy. When there's empathy and people are helping each other, hate will not stand. I believe that each human being is an important part of our future, that we treat each other with compassion, with empathy, with kindness, because that's what we want the future to look like. So if our actions are of compassion, of empathy, of kindness, look what we're building. We're taking something that, although we're talking about it, our actions is contributing to a positive world that many people are dreaming about. I look forward to talking to you next time, more on finding your true north, finding compassion. Have a great day.
Be sure and pick up a copy of Eartha's new book, Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's not just an ordinary coloring book. It features 23 illustrations to stimulate thought, relaxation, and creativity for anyone between the ages of 4 and 94. Increase your positive self-talk energy, unlock new creative paths, transform your time once or twice a week to create beautiful art while strengthening confidence, building positive self-talk, and sensitize self-awareness. Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's available now at Amazon.com.